Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dikaprio. Master number 0601. I'm here an explanation presentation and thinking about adjusting about interactive animation as English learning media using the Assigment. Next. Introduction. English is international language. Used in communication between countries. Therefore, education and English education cannot be underestimated. In this day, and many parents have preparing their children to be fluent in English from an early age, because the ability to English language skill are needed now and in the future. Many early children educational education for reality there are many. Obviously, you are the children award in and still not emerging English virtually even though the learning process has been carried out an early age. Currently, English lesson is still less. Many students are interested in and many students consider it one of the lessons that is quite difficult. This is to do so proper including the teaching method. Used teaching method are still less the interesting and less varied. As well as student interest is still very low. In the world of application, learning method can be present by using teaching aids or unknown as a learning media. But something the teaching aid is used is itself interesting because the interview and one methods one of the methods learning method then can you be delivered is by emerging computer technology as the learning media can deliver learning material tactily, audio and visual, uh, variety and multiplicative interactive animation in one form of learning method that using audio visual media audio that in the media it is word of education animation. And then the review animation is one form of learning method or using audio visual media audio. The SD is quite interesting. Animation can insert in and understanding of the virtual field of science, field of economic. In education, animation can also facilitate the teacher in the process of learning and the teaching and delivery of material to students. With the existence of any method learning media, interface learning media, student can learning more inserting and inserting in English. Learning process and interview animation, student can read will and currently. Wijayanto. Okay, next. Identification, identification of problem in this study. Will the problem in this study? Number one, how to make education media to help engage learn from teacher and children in the process of learning English. And two, how to learning media that can help children to easily remember the lessons through the learning process because affecting fun. And three, how to make a learning media that can be assessed and sworn in age where technology is extremely developing today. Next, research methodology. This is a research was conducted to overtime accurate data and accurate information about the learning process. Teaching process to be analyzed so that it can be known when next needs of different changes in learning. The research method used in the research includes number one, data collection and teaching, and two, software development methods. And A. Overprecision. There is an overprecision method or is the one of assisting in the process of English learning process in about al-hidayah. So that is can be know the advantage areas and the need of student and teacher in learning English and the need of present teacher in English learning process. And then B, interview. The interview method you was connected by connecting question and answer to the process involved in the learning process indirectly, learning process directly, such as listening teacher, student, and present. And this, and then literature study. The literature study method is carried or by connecting information or reference related topics and then works in reading article, journal, book, and internet. Okay, and then the software development methods. And software development method is it of the problem that embeds in describing personally describing then is the research will product it a learning media product learning product according to Sugiono. The research and development method is the method of research method used to product certificate product and ads. Any development model which on consists of 5 stages which include analysis, designs, development, improvement and implication. The AD model consists of 5 internet and the similarity structure component that are component that is interrelated and cumulative structure. This means that from the first stage to seek takes in the application must be systematic and cannot be executed randomly. Systematic and not cannot be executed randomly. This fifth stage of the are very simple. We come to order. The second model is simple and structured, natural, systematic. The easy model is easy to understand. The idea of common resource step in the source in the from the care below. Step of the edit deployment model. Number one, analysis. And analysis is the net of the communication material. So then character software analysis and all the specification and the design. And the design connected of making and construct boards, preparation of material and application question making background image and button of the application, and then development and connect of making interview animated media preparation and media repetition, and then the application in implementation and implementation is media testing a stake, and then application and making product information based the filling the Z period the real and making of the final project in form of the interviewment in multimedia CD-ROM and the development product. Next, the analysis. This interview English learning and I mentioned the animator early. A report about Hidayah based operation and interview which being directed out and the analysis is about from a user. And namely that there's import information that can introduce English such as tips of letters, tips of number, tips of fish and tips of animal, and when a question is the from and the when the end of the English learning, the amount in the early education is the point in Hidayah based on the application and interview which have the bit cut out and this the education that the analysis the interview English learning application and with early about education based on process and interview and the interview and namely the kind of information can introduce English in the software types all of the types number types of breed and types animal, and as will question and the problem equation and the visual learning tool equation and the problem equation then can be asked in game from children games for the children education system recommend the design and display interpol animation also recommend a research equipment to support in the soft and small process of making and the teaching animated learning interview and animation the following aspect in the making interview in animation learning. And then from the question in figure on 14 the solution of it is pretty like calculation 17 egg answer yes and 13% answer no answer no, so it can be converted as it is clear and easily used application become more internal learning English and can be used as a tool that can help children in learning English so the learning should not boring. The conclusion and basis of the analysis of the research that had been done and become the including with this animation and tracking and learning can help teacher and learning the process of learning English with the application of interview learning animation English can be help children in remembering lesson so the learning process and remembering lesson so the learning and the teaching process becomes effective and fun and in the interview animation of English learning can be acid and swore and anytime in age was technology and strict developing like today this time. However, this interview animation is still very simple so it's very possible to develop it to be even better. For hacking this and know whether or not this program is good in the use of the animation shall be supervised either one can control the learning process so the learning process is getting better and also in the design of the application is recommended to design in the in needed to be more activity in the determining method of interaction and knowledge so there is the interview animation can be development in accordance in the development of newer technology and information newer. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.